Hey everyone, if you've been looking for the ultimate way to validate your AI skills, you are in exactly the right place. Because on July 13th, Anthropic completely changed the game. They released 3 brand new Claude certification exams. And you know what's really incredible about this? These aren't just for hardcore software engineers. One of them isn't even technical. In this explainer, we're going to dive into everything you need to know about these exams and map out your ultimate upskilling study roadmap. Whether you're in sales, customer success, or deep in the engineering trenches, it is absolutely time to start studying.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our 6-step agenda to get you fully prepared. We'll cover the Claude Partner Network, choosing your certification path, the exam format itself, your official study roadmap, a few sample questions to test your knowledge, and finally, the retake policies.
Starting right off with Section 1, the Claude Partner Network.
Now, you might be wondering how to sign up, but here's the catch. Anthropic is keeping these certifications highly exclusive for now. The Claude Partner Network, or CPN for short, is the ultimate gatekeeper here. You literally cannot just go to a website, swipe a credit card, and take these tests as an individual. You have to be part of an organization that's already inside the Claude Partner Network, and they strictly verify this using your work email. So whether you run your own business or you work at a massive firm, your company has to be in the network first.
But honestly, the good news is that joining is surprisingly straightforward. The application process? It's completely free. The main hurdle is simply that your organization has to commit to getting at least 10 people certified. So yeah, it's time to start recruiting your coworkers. And you don't even need them to be certified before you apply because, well, you need to get into the network just to access the tests. Once your company's in, it unlocks a ton of incredible ecosystem perks. We're talking access to the Anthropic Partner Academy, private sales playbooks, deployment templates, and the whole shebang of partnership badges you can show off once you have proven deployments.
All right, let's move on to Section 2, choosing your certification path.
And this brilliantly illustrates how Anthropic has structured things. They've designed 3 distinct tiers, so you can self-select exactly where your skills fit. First up, the Associate Foundations. This is your go-to for consulting, sales, and customer success roles. It's totally non-technical and it'll cost $99. Next, we have Developer Foundations. This one is aimed right at AI developers and engineers who are actually building apps. It is definitely a technical exam and runs $125. And finally, for the veterans out there designing massive, complex end-to-end systems, there's the Architect Professional, highly technical, and it costs $175.
Which brings us to Section 3, the exam format breakdown. Let's talk about the pressure you'll be under.
Here is the very first core metric you need to know. No matter which of those 3 exams you decide to take, you are going to face exactly 60 questions, every single time. And you'll have precisely 120 minutes in total to answer them. So just doing the quick math on that, you have to maintain a steady pace of roughly 2 minutes per question. You really can't afford to get bogged down on any single tricky scenario.
And to wrap up the format data, here's the passing score. Anthropic requires a precise 720 out of 1,000 points to earn the certification. That 720 is the magic number you're aiming for, across the board. Okay, on to Section 4, your official study roadmap. Think of this as your training montage.
If you're targeting the non-technical Associate Foundations exam, this is your roadmap right here. Your primary focus is on day-to-day AI operations. You need to master prompting for sure, but there's a huge emphasis on output evaluation. Basically, how do you actually know the AI gave you a reliable answer? You also have to understand model selection, like choosing the faster, cheaper Haiku model for simple tasks versus bringing in the powerhouse, Opus, for complex reasoning. Add in some basic workflow integration, knowledge management, and governance, and you'll be golden.
Now, if you're shifting gears to the Developer Foundations exam, notice how the roadmap gets significantly more technical. You're way past just interacting with a chat window. You're building real, production-grade systems now. You've got to study the Claude Agent SDK, get deep into API mechanics, and figure out how to debug Claude's code. You'll need advanced prompt engineering, and crucially, you absolutely must understand how to implement tools and MCPs, that's Model Context Protocols, to let Claude securely talk to external data.
And for those brave souls tackling the Architect Professional exam, your study roadmap zooms way out to the entire system lifecycle. This isn't just about coding a feature, it's about architecting a full enterprise solution. Expect to be tested heavily on RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, along with incredibly complex agent configurations and system-wide optimization. But here's an interesting twist. As an architect, you're also tested on stakeholder management and developer productivity. It really proves this tier is about true technical leadership.
All right, let's put that theory into practice with Section 5, tackling the sample questions.
Consider these your mini-boss battles. Let's start with a scenario from the non-technical associate exam. You ask Claude to summarize a brand new regulation, and it gives you a highly confident summary that cites a specific subsection number. What's the very first thing you should do before sending this off to your compliance team? Think about it for a second.
So the crucial point is this. You must manually verify that cited subsection. Period. You can't just accept an AI's output as fact just because it sounds super confident. And you definitely don't just ask Claude to rate its own accuracy. You have to verify it yourself.
Okay, let's step it up to a developer-level question. Your team needs Claude to call an internal inventory system that's exposed as a REST API. But pay attention to these strict constraints. It has to be highly reusable across several different apps, and it must be maintained entirely independently. How would you approach this?
If you guessed rely on an MCP server, you hit the nail on the head. Pasting massive chunks of inventory data into the context window for every request, that's terribly inefficient. And hard-coding the logic totally violates that reusability constraint we talked about. By using a Model Context Protocol server, you're building a modular, reusable bridge between Claude and your REST API.
All right, time for the final boss, an architect-level scenario. You have a RAG system running flawlessly, but suddenly, right after a routine document refresh, it starts spitting out confident but completely incorrect answers. Latency hasn't changed, the model version is exactly the same. Where is the very first place you look to fix this?
As an architect, you need to instantly recognize that when documents get refreshed, the primary culprit for this specific issue is the retrieval indexing step. It's almost certainly grabbing irrelevant or stale chunks of data that the model is now using to generate those wrong responses. It's not the model weights, it's not the temperature settings, it's your data pipeline.
Let's wrap things up with Section 6, retake policies and rules, just in case things don't go perfectly the first time around.
Now, Anthropic used to have a brutal 6-month waiting period, but they've thankfully updated it to this escalating timeline. If you fail the first time, you just wait 14 days to try again. A second fail, that wait bumps up to 30 days. And if you miss it a third time, you're pushed back 90 days. You can attempt an exam up to 4 times a year, but listen closely. There are no discounts for retakes. You're going to pay that full $99, $125, or $175 fee every single time you sit for it. So it quite literally pays to study hard the first time.
And that brings us to the end of our roadmap. We've covered the gatekeeping of the Claude Partner Network, the strict exam formats, exactly what you need to study, and we even battled through some real sample questions. The tools are absolutely out there, your study paths are crystal clear, and the value of bringing a certified Claude deployment capability to your organization is huge. So, looking at everything we've mapped out today, which Claude certification path will you conquer first to validate your AI expertise? Go talk to your organization, get that CPN application rolling, and dive into your study roadmap. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.
Thank you. Share and subscribe to Learn AI for more AI insights.